So you may or may not be aware, but at the time of writing, there's currently a double strike going on in Hollywood between actors represented by SAG-AFTRA, writers represented by the WGA, and the studios represented by the AMPTP. Now, I'm not here to get into the minutia of all that, that's a whole different video entirely. But what it does mean is that while yes, we do have a steady amount of content releasing in the short term, like Barbie, Oppenheimer, and A24's Talk to Me, if this strike continues, there's going to be a shortage of new scripted content in the long run. And while technically these strikes could end any day now, studio execs have already stated that the end game is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and houses, which itself feels scripted. Like, it's something so repugnant I'd expect Scrooge McDuck or Mr. Krabs to say it. But regardless, it doesn't exactly inspire confidence that this will end anytime soon, meaning that well of new content is going to dry up eventually. And it's likely whatever new project you're looking forward to will almost certainly, at best, be either delayed or at worst, canceled altogether. So when that time comes and all there's to watch is reality TV and game shows, I'm here to offer an alternative because I don't know about you, but there's only so much Jeopardy one man can take. Instead, you should read, and I know, the horror, actually reading a book in the year of our Lord 2023, but Harleen by Stjepan Šejić, God, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is absolutely worth it.
Nice.
So if you don't already know or haven't already guessed, Harleen is a Harley Quinn origin story. It's a reimagination of the classic Mad Love story by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, which if you haven't read, you should, or at the very least, watch the adaptation of Mad Love in the new Batman Adventures on Max, as it's fantastic in its own right. But I think Harleen is easily the best Harley Quinn story put on the page. Now listen, to be fair, I haven't read every Harley Quinn story ever printed, so I could end up eating my words with a different Harley Quinn story that I just haven't read yet, but I highly doubt it. I absolutely adore this comic, from its presentation, mature writing, and tone to its incredibly visually appealing art style, making it all the more impressive because both the story and the art were done by Stjepan Šejić. Being a part of DC's Black Label, which is their label used for more mature one-off comics, Harleen is an adult story. This allows for indulgence into the more mature themes of sex, violence, and manipulation that the original just could not explore because it was geared toward a younger audience. And I'm not saying that simply making something for an adult audience automatically makes it better, but it is really about how it's executed when making that change. And the execution here is top tier, because this is actually more of a character study that shows a slow progression from Harleen to Harley Quinn in a way I just haven't seen done in any other medium. And that's not throwing any shade at Paul Dini or the OG Mad Love story at all. By all measures, that's still a fantastic story to this day. This just takes those already fantastic ideas and turns it up to 11 with all the grit and maturity you'd expect from Gotham, but made for adults. Which brings me to the art. I meant it when I said this is a character study on Harley Quinn, but it's also, surreptitiously, a smutty romance novel gone wrong. I mean, Šejić basically admits to as much in the afterwards section of this collection. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't raunchy and it's nothing like Šejić's Sunstone series, but all this to say is we get very attractive versions of these classic characters, especially the Joker, which I find to be a refreshing take that makes sense canonically due to this being from the POV of Harley Quinn. Like, sure, the Joker may be an unhinged madman to us, but to Harley, he's the devil she just can't resist. It truly makes me yearn for Harleen to be adapted into a mini-series just so I can see more of this story in this art style. And I know we already have an adult Harley Quinn show on Max right now that I actually do really like, but that's very different both stylistically and tonally, so I don't really feel like adapting the story would step on any of the toes of that show. And finally, I gotta talk about the book itself. This is a very exceedingly well-made book. It's hardcover and we get a beautiful sleeve jacket as well as artwork on the hardcover itself, front and back, making it an easy win for both sleeve jacket lovers and haters alike. Being a 3-issue collection of comics, we get full-page cover art preceding each issue with variant cover art for each in the afterwards, which is where there's also a graphic timeline of development with script notes, initial sketches, commentary, and more. This really feels like a passion project with a lot of care and attention to detail in the best ways possible.